Greetings, everybody. And in this short video, we're going to be discussing, because it's pretty much a foregone conclusion that this being election year, and with the votes being casted and stuff like that, that the two front runners for both parties it's pretty much a foregone conclusion now that it's going to be Hillary Clinton against Donald Trump. All right. And I'm gonna be probably the bearer of bad news, especially for Trump supporters, especially those in the alternative media and those that regard Trump to a real good standard of being the rebel, being the guy that is anti-establishment, making up all these good ideas and these types of things. And then we have Hillary Clinton, and we don't have to really go too much into her, but we're going to, so we don't show any bias, okay? Because her story and who is operating her campaign trail is interesting. Also, when you dig up a little bit of Trump's past, that is also interesting. But what is interesting is the aspect of Daniel 11:27, okay? And Daniel 11 talks about the king of the north and the king of the south, who out in the open seems like they are pitted against each other, okay? Which it's clear as day that, out in the open, the differences between Trump's philosophies and Hillary Clinton's philosophies are night and day. Night and day difference. Okay? There's no denying that. Donald Trump has got the support for the mass majority of alternative media. Mainly Alex Jones and a lot of other alternative media sources. But you can go to InfoWars and you can see the praises of Donald Trump all over the place. And then obviously on the liberal side you have those that support Hillary Clinton and these types of things. So, but we're gonna look behind the scenes, and especially in Hillary Clinton's case, because it's pretty well apparent, especially when I get into the article I'm going to show you. But Daniel 11:27 states, "And both these kings, north and south, hearts shall be to do mischief, and they shall speak lies at one table, but it shall not prosper, for yet the end shall be at the time appointed." Okay, so here we have, you can kind of take this principle and look at the election. You have two candidates here. Okay? They speak lies at one table. Well, these candidates have bosses. As a matter of fact, I'll go one step further. Both these candidates have the same boss. What do I mean by that? Well, if you look at Sun Tzu's The Art of War, you can pretty much figure it out there. You can read Rulers of Evil. You can pretty much figure it out there. And all sorts of materials you can dig up. Okay. The point of being is that both these individuals, Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton, are Jesuit trained to the point where they are playing the opposites very well. Okay? Just like the king of the north and the king of the south. Okay? That principle, that mindset. Alright? But they both speak lies at one table. Let's go ahead and get right down to it here. This is out of Time magazine, or Time.com. This is from April 28th, 2016. And the headline states, "Meet the man behind Hillary Clinton's campaign." Okay, and here he is. Some people might recognize him from Bill Clinton's presidency. And I'm just going to read the first sentence here. On the wall in his office at Hillary Clinton's Brooklyn headquarters, campaign chairman John Podesta has an oil painting on loan from his lobbyist brother, who is an avid art collector. The image shows two men hunched over a dining room table, bearing knives and forks. On the table lays a man in a suit, who looks vaguely like Podesta. It's better to be the guy with the fork, Podesta quips to his colleagues if they ask about the image than the guy on the table. Okay, so, and then going down here, we're going to pick up this article. Right here. Okay, and I want you to really pay attention to this. Interviews with more than a dozen colleagues over the last several months reveal that Podesta is the first and last word on any issue. This is for the campaign of Hillary Clinton. Okay, you just caught that. Interviews with more than a dozen colleagues over the last several months reveal that Podesta is the first and last word on any issue. This is coming from Time.com, folks. So who's really in charge of Hillary Clinton here? Who's really the man behind the scenes working this campaign trail? It's this John Podesta. The primary and often only point of contact for much of exiled Hillary land, Podesta stocked this campaign with professional campaigners eschewing Clinton loyalists, everybody and nobody's boss, and simultaneously the campaign mascot and the wise man. Podesta is, in short, the man behind the Clinton campaign curtain. So he's basically the one running the Hillary campaign. Hillary's just the puppet. Podesta's pulling the strings. Now, who is this John Podesta? Okay. Well, there's a recent picture of him right there. And we'll just scroll down here. And you see his credentials and these types of things. He served as the White House staff secretary from 1993 to 1995 under, with Bill Clinton. And obviously Democratic. He's an alma mater of Georgetown University. What is Georgetown University? Well, Georgetown University is the very first Jesuit college that was founded by John Carroll. Okay. And also, well, obviously, his religion is Roman Catholicism. All right. So Podesta served as both an assistant to the president and as deputy chief of staff. Earlier, from January 93 to 95, he was assistant to the president, staff secretary, and a senior policy advisor on government information. Okay. In recent years, Podesta founded and is currently chair of the Center for American Progress, a liberal think tank in Washington, D.C., and counselor to the Center for American Progress Action Fund. In addition to his work in American Progress, Podesta is currently a visiting professor of law at the Georgetown University Law Center, his alma mater, where he has taught classes on congressional investigations and technology law and policy. He is a member of the Constitution Project's Bipartisan Liberty and Security Committee. So there you have it. You basically have a pretty noted figure running the campaign of Hillary Clinton, who is a visiting professor of law at the Georgetown University Law Center. So therefore, this campaign is Jesuit controlled. So that one was pretty easy. You just have to connect a little bit of dots there. Now, on to Donald Trump. I like this quote because it rings so true today. This is from Superior General of the Jesuits, Michael Angelo Tamburini, who stay to see my lord from this room, I govern not only Paris, but China. Not only China, but the whole world, without anyone knowing how 'tis managed. We're going to move this over a little bit so you can read this. I'm going to read this entire thing, and I'll provide the sources that this individual has also provided, including the link to the site itself. So, this post states, Donald Trump has been the subject of media frenzy as of late. It seems that a considerable amount of those who subscribe to alternative sources of information are Trump supporters. There's no question about that, okay? I mean, I've even gone out of the, and said he's saying some very interesting things. I like some of the things he's saying, and these types of things with his views of, hey, let's just not let any Muslims in until we figure out what this problem is. Stuff like that. He said stuff like that, and it's like, well, I couldn't agree more. But at the same time, we have to be careful because he is running for a position that is heavily controlled. So in order to So you have to bear that in mind, okay? So Donald Trump has been the subject of media frenzy as of late. It seems that a considerable amount of those who subscribe to alternative sources of information are Trump supporters. They see him as some kind of rebel, going against both the Republican and Democratic parties, as exemplified his recent non-commitment to support the Republican nominee for president. Could it be, though, that Donald Trump is a false flag candidate being used to secure the vote of the ever-increasing independent constituency in order to inevitably lull the U.S. into a false sense of positive political novelty and thus to subsequently impose Jesuitical right-wing fascism leading to a nationwide race war as devised by the masters of class adversarialism, the Sons of Loyola? It very well could be, and here is why. Trump claims to be a Presbyterian, yet he attended Fordham University, which is a Jesuit university, for 2 years and then transferred to the covertly Jesuit-controlled University of Pennsylvania. All of these are hyperlinked. You can go, and I will provide all the sources where this comes from. That's why it's numbered 1, 2, 3, and so forth. The University of Pennsylvania is funded by various papal court Jews, notably by the Annenberg Foundation, started by Papal Knight and Hofjude Walter Hubert Annenberg. Annenberg briefly attended the University of Pennsylvania in his youth and later established the Annenberg School for Communication at the University of Pennsylvania. Mr. Annenberg is a Knight Commander of the Order of St. Gregory the Great. This is what Donald Trump has surrounded himself with. Same people, same society as Hillary Clinton, but yet they are posing as direct opposites. Court Jew David L. Cohen is the chairman of the Board of Trustees of the University of Pennsylvania, as well as an alumnus of University of Pennsylvania. He is also the executive vice president of Comcast. He was recently named co-chairman of the Leadership Planning Committee of the Roman Catholic World Meeting of Families in Philadelphia, which is the coming of the Pope to Philadelphia. Okay. So he was basically part and parcel in control of the planning and preparations for the Pope to come to Philadelphia when he came here. The University of Pennsylvania could be renamed Hofjude University because of its enormous amount of papist Jewish funding and leadership, and really the entire Pennsylvania area is controlled by the Roman Catholic hierarchy via the Jesuit provincial holding jurisdiction over Pennsylvania, the Archbishop of Philadelphia, and the Bishop of Pittsburgh, in conjunction with the temporal coadjutor government officials produced from UPenn, and the following Roman Catholic or Catholic-funded universities: La Salle University, Duquesne University, Pennsylvania State University, Villanova University, Temple University, and St. Joseph's University. And I want to back up just a little bit because I just want to give you a brief explanation of what Papal Court Jews is. Papal Court Jews are basically essentially those, I mean, you hear all over the place when people say, oh, the Jews rule the world and these types of things. These Papal Court Jews are essentially another strong arm or a strong front for the Vatican. They are given positions of power as in to control like certain aspects of media and certain aspects of Hollywood and these types of things, you know, and then you got the Rothschilds and stuff like that, but all of them are subservient to the Vatican. They are a very strong front, but they serve Rome. Okay, that's essentially the short version, the short explanation of what Papal Court Jews is. So when you hear that phrase in this article, that's why I wanted to bring that out. Protestants do not attend Roman Catholic institutions. Well, they probably do now, a lot of them anyway. Especially counter-Reformation Jesuit institutions like Fordham University. So Trump is at the very least an apostate for having done that. However, the story does not end with Trump. Out of the 5 children he has, the 3 listed on Wikipedia have attended the following schools. You have Donald John Trump Jr., alma mater at University of Pennsylvania. Ivanka Marie Trump, alma mater, University of Pennsylvania. Eric Frederick Trump, alma mater, Georgetown University. So there you have it. Trump, in addition to being affiliated with both Jesuit Fordham and covertly Jesuit UPenn, has at least 3 children who are all alumni of UPenn and notorious Jesuit Georgetown University. Whether it be Trump, Jeb Bush, Hillary Clinton, or even Bernie Sanders that ends up winning the 2016 election, all of these candidates are connected to Rome, and all will only serve to implement the tyrannical neo-Romanist policies of the papacy and its professed soldiers of the Society of Jesus. And there's all the sources there. And again, I'll provide you the sources, and I'll provide you the link to this article, which has the sources. But if you don't want to read the article, I'll have the links to the sources so you can look them up yourselves. You know, just the sources. So, there you have it. You know, 2 individuals playing polar opposites in order to convey a message to the public to get them to choose for either the one or the other. But in reality, they are both serving the same boss. Okay? So, there you have it. You know, I told you I was going to be the bearer of bad news, especially for Trump supporters, but that's it. I mean, that's basically it. So, thank you for listening. Truth be told, truth be known. Stay safe. God bless, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.